Hi, welcome to Quick Business Tips. I'm Jennifer Swineford, founder of Limitless Impact Agency, and this is the podcast for service-based business owners who want to grow their business without losing the heart behind it. Every week, I'm bringing you real practical strategies on marketing, sales, and customer experience. No fluff, no hustle culture nonsense, just what works. So let's get into it. I want to start today with a piece of business advice that I think has caused more anxiety, more second guessing, and more sleepless nights for business owners than almost anything else. It's those two words that strike fear into every business owner: niche down. If you've been in the business world for more than 5 minutes, someone has told you that this is what you need to do. Might be a mentor, maybe you took a marketing course, you listened to a podcast. I may have even at some point told you that this is what you needed to do. And if you're like most service-based business owners I work with, your gut reaction to that is somewhere between mild panic and full-blown resistance. Because here's what you hear when someone says niche down. Most business owners here turn work away, say no to money, shrink your potential client pool, put yourself in a box. And I get it. I really do, especially for tradesmen, realtors, anyone in the home services industry. You worked hard to build a business that can serve a whole bunch of people. And the idea of voluntarily narrowing that down feels counterintuitive at best and terrifying at worst. So today I want to do two things. I want to tell you the truth about what niching really is, because the way it gets taught is almost always incomplete. And the incomplete version is what causes all of the panic and anxiety. And second, I want to share with you my own story because I fought this battle myself. And I want to tell you what happened when I finally stopped fighting it. It changed everything for my business. So here's the version of niching that most people get when they hear about it. They're told to pick one type of client, speak only to them, and refuse everybody else's business. And there is a tiny bit of truth in that advice. Because focused marketing is far more effective than broad, vague, scattered marketing. That part of the advice is good advice, but the way it gets communicated makes it sound like niching is about locking all of the doors and only opening one. And you have to decide who it is you will and you won't serve, and you draw a hard line in the sand. And that's where it breaks down for most business owners because you've built something that you're proud of. You've worked with contractors, realtors, coaches, not-for-profits, and you've done exceptional work with all of them. The idea that you should suddenly turn people away feels wrong. And it might be wrong for you because here's what nobody tells you. Niching is not so much about who you work with. It's about where you're spending your marketing dollars, time, energy, effort. I'm going to say it again. Niching is not about who your clients are. It's about where your marketing is directed. Those are two completely different decisions. And confusing them or blending them together is exactly why the advice niching down causes so much unnecessary anxiety. Here's a good illustration. A lot of businesses see a niche as a cage, but instead it's a megaphone. Because when you focus your marketing on a very specific audience, you stop just speaking to a whole stadium of people. And instead, direct all of your speech to the most perfect client for you. And by doing that, your message gets sharper, your stories get more specific, and your perfect client starts to feel like you built your entire business just for them, because that's how your marketing sounds. The irony is that the more specifically you speak to a very narrow group of people, the better you get heard. Because when someone in your niche finds you and feels like you really understand them, they don't just hire you, they tell everyone they know about you. Now, the flip side of that coin is the generalist, the business that tries to speak to that entire stadium. And their message ends up resonating with almost no one. This isn't because the service they provide isn't amazing. It's because their message is so broad and so vague, it doesn't really strike anyone. Think about your own experience as a consumer. If you're a contractor looking for marketing help, would you rather hire a generic marketing agency that serves a broad range of industries? Or are you going to hire an agency that says, I grew up on construction sites, I know the trades, I speak your language, and I know how to translate that into messaging that gets you the clients you want? That is the power of a focused niche. Let me share with you my story really quick, because I didn't arrive at this belief through a podcast or a business book. I arrived at it through my own hard-headedness and what happened when I got over it. My marketing and sales framework genuinely work across all industries. I know because I've served a wide range of industries, from large corporations, not-for-profits, coaches, real estate teams, contractors, landscapers. When it comes down to the psychology of great marketing, that doesn't change based on the industry. It's all about human connection, clear messaging, and trust. And that's universal. So for a long time, I marketed universally, broadly, vaguely. I can help anyone, any industry, any size. And I knew I could. I knew I had. But here's the thing. I was working harder than I needed to, because every new client in a new industry meant I had to learn their language, understand their pain points, figure out what their customers cared about. And I loved the work, but it was a really heavy lift. And then I noticed something else. Every time I sat down with a general contractor, a realtor, anyone in the home services industry, I didn't have to go through that warm-up period. I already knew the language they spoke because I grew up with it. My dad built homes, and I grew up on construction sites. I understood the pride of the craft that they were doing and the frustration behind the sales of marketing. I also understood how difficult it was to communicate value to a homeowner who feels like they need to make a decision on price. Now, over the course of my career, where I spent 18 years working alongside hundreds of realtors and dozens of lenders, I also knew that world inside and out, their language. And I didn't need to build new credibility there every time I found a new client. So I got to a point where I asked myself a really tough question. If I can do this work anywhere, but it's more effortless, more effective, and I'm genuinely more enthusiastic in the world of trades, home services, real estate, why am I trying to reach everyone everywhere? I was choosing to carry a really heavy backpack when there was a perfectly good path right there in front of me that didn't require any backpack at all. So I made the decision. I didn't stop taking clients outside of the home services industries. I still work with corporations, not-for-profits, coaches, and I love the work with them. But I stopped marketing to them. I focused my time, energy, content, and money on the home services world. Tradesmen, realtors, people that I serve so naturally, so specifically, and so effectively. And here's what happened when I made this decision. My business doubled. Then the next year, it doubled. And the year after that, it doubled again. 3 years in a row, my business doubled. I was using the same frameworks. I was the same person. I was spending the same amount of time on my marketing. I just changed the focus of where my marketing was pointing. Now, this is really important. I don't want you to hear that simply by changing your focus, clients fall from the sky. This isn't magic. I still had to do the work. I still had to show up consistently. But by focusing my effort, I was able to compound my results in a way that a broad, vague, scattered effort was never going to get me. Because when your marketing speaks directly to the best people that you serve, the best clients find you faster, trust you sooner, and refer you more readily. Okay, so if I've convinced you, or even just made you a little curious, here's how to go about finding your own niche. This framework is practical and it's not a follow your heart's desire type of advice. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, where do you do work that is effortless? Not just good, not just easy, effortless. Which clients do you serve where it feels completely natural? You already know the language, the pain points, the industry dynamics. You don't have to study it. Where do you walk into a conversation and feel immediately at home? For you, it might be a specific service type, geography, life stage your clients are in. A home services contractor who specifically serves new construction, a realtor who specializes in first-time home buyers, a landscaper who focuses on their marketing on commercial properties. Where do you already have a head start on trust and understanding? Question number 2, where do you get the best results? Look back at your clients and find the best outcomes, not your biggest projects, your best results. The clients who were the most happy, referred you the most, or the work had the most impact. Do you see any patterns? It might be industry patterns, client personality patterns, project patterns. Your best results are almost always a signal about where you naturally thrive. And it's important not to ignore that data. The third question is, where is there a need? A good niche isn't all about you. It's about matching your strengths to a group of people who need what you do and don't feel like anyone else is speaking directly to them. Now, for a lot of service-based owners, they feel completely lost when it comes to marketing. They're incredible at what they do and they know it, but communicating that value, getting the right clients to find them, building a referral engine that runs, there's a huge gap. And that's the need that I like to fill. When you're able to find a gap like that, walk into it and say, I see you, I know your world, I know exactly how to help. That's not just marketing, that's a calling. So here's the question I want you to ask this week. Where do all these 3 things overlap for you in your business? Where does it feel effortless? Where do you get the best results? And where is there a clear unmet need that you can speak directly to? Write this down. Don't just keep it in your head. Put it on paper or in your phone, because clarity lives when you write it down, not just when it's somewhere in the universe. Now, I want to address any anxiety that you might have because it's there. And it was there for me too. It's perfectly normal. The first one is, what if I turn away someone who could have been a great client? And here's the easy answer. By niching down, you're not turning anyone away. You're simply choosing where to focus your marketing, not who you'll accept as a client. If someone from outside your niche finds you and you feel like they're a great fit, you have the ability to work with them. I still do on a regular basis. A niche is about your marketing strategy, not a business policy. Now, here's the second fear that a lot of people have. What if the niche is too small and I don't have enough clients? I focus on the trades and contractors, realtors, landscapers, plumbers, electricians, painters, home stagers, property managers. They represent millions of small businesses just in this country alone. And the majority of them are underserved when it comes to marketing. This is not a small pond. This is an ocean. And I'm going to bet that when you find where your three questions intersect, isn't a small pond either. Fear number three is, what if I get bored? And this is the most honest fear. Because when you go deep into an industry or a niche, instead of broadening it and going across very many, most of the time, people don't get bored. They simply get better. They start to see patterns that nobody who is serving a broad range of clients would ever see. You develop an expertise that becomes its own competitive advantage. And the results that you get for your clients are far greater than they were when you first started out and you weren't niching down. And if you do get bored, even if you get better, you always have the ability to change niches. This isn't like a to death do us part decision that you're making. And I want to leave you with one thing that goes a little bit deeper here. I think that there's something super intentional about whatever path brought you to whatever industry or type of client you serve best. I think you've had experiences, grew up in a world, done work that brought you here, and none of it was accidental. For me, growing up on construction sites wasn't just a fun childhood memory. It formed me into who I am. It built in a fluency in a language and a respect for trades that I couldn't have gotten through any kind of course or certification. And when I finally stopped fighting the niching down fear and let my past experiences transform my business, everything started to line up. And I think that's true for a lot of businesses. When you find a niche that feels effortless, it feels that way for a reason. This isn't just a coincidence that you stumbled into. It's a clue into where you're headed. So don't be afraid to be specific, because specific is where you get to do the best work for the people who need you most. And that is worth so much more than being available to everyone. Now, if today's episode stirred up some emotions in you and you're sitting there thinking, I think I know what my niche is, but I'm not really committed to it, I would love to help be a sounding board for that. You can schedule a free strategy session with me using the show notes or by going to limitlessimpactagency.com, and we can figure it out together. We'll figure out where your marketing focus should be pointed and what it looks like to build around that type of focus. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with one person in your world who you think could benefit from this niching down exercise. If something landed for you today, I would be so appreciative if you'd share this episode with one person in your world who needs to hear it, because that's how this show will grow. And I am so grateful for every single share that is made. If you're ready to take what you learned today and put it into work to grow your business, I would absolutely love to talk to you. You can use the link in the show notes or visit limitlessimpactagency.com to schedule your free strategy session. We'll figure out exactly where you need to focus first. But until next week, go do something amazing.